What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? It's your boy Domuto. We back with another video today. We're watching What If Frieza Raised Kakarot Part 11 and 12. Damn, what happened last time? They finally got Broly. They brought Broly, they pulled Broly up, you know what I'm saying? Broly pulling up with them. So that what happened last time. Sorry if you hear my fan in the background. It's hot as fuck, so hopefully y'all can just, hope it don't bother y'all that much. It's on low, but if y'all, of course it's just a fan, you can still hear it. But shout out to Saiyan for this video. Make sure we like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into it.
Now that Broly is with the Galactic Patrol, they need to figure out what to do with him. But the Saiyans have a plan. Specifically, that plan is from Raditz and Nappa. If you remember from the last part, not only were they ones that actually found Broly, but they actually had the idea of keeping him alive. They didn't want to kill him needlessly. There was no real desire to do that. Broly didn't deserve it at all, and there could have been another way.
Nope.
And thankfully they did find that other way. Now he's safe with them at the Galactic Patrol, and they can try and figure out how to harness his power and teach him how to use it. They'll give Broly a better life, and he actually seems up to it, besides the fact that he's not on that crappy planet anymore. It seems he's got a group of people that care about him, and they can kind of relate to him in some ways. Besides the fact that they're just Saiyans, they've been through a lot as well.
Right.
And they're going to teach him a new path in life. They're going to make him a lot stronger, supporting Broly along the way as well. And they're still pretty surprised at how strong he was. Even with them all in Super Saiyan 2, he was a problem. As of now, even without any control on his power, he's actually the strongest of the group, but he needs to learn how to use that. If he can't actually control the power, what's the point? So the three of them begin working. Raditz and Nappa start training him, trying to get him into shape. Not only do they need to increase his power, but they need to increase his combat abilities and teach him how to manage his anger and his power. He's making some decent progress in his training, while Kakarot and Vegeta continue their own training. Vegeta jumps in with them time to time, but also, he does go with Maris and Kakarot too. And that training is going very well, even better than what Raditz and Nappa are doing. But Maris is a bit worried. He told Whis last time about Kakarot, and, well, Beerus just woke up apparently, and Whis is probably going to be telling him too. It's not that he didn't expect this, he just doesn't know how Beerus is going to react. Maybe he just won't care, or maybe he'll be very interested in the Saiyan, or maybe something really bad will happen. He does have a terrible temper after all, and he hopes does not set off somehow. We'll now be entering an arc where Beerus enters. It's kind of like Battle of Gods, but also kind of different, because, well, look at how the stories went so far. Just as Maris expected, one day, the patrol gets a surprise visitor. Two random people unknowingly board the ship, and the Galactic Patrol has a collective freakout. It's a giant purple cat and some blue guy with giant hair. They draw their guns on them, but Beerus tells them not to worry. He's just here to see Kakarot, asking if he could kindly be directed to the Saiyans. The patrol is about to open fire, but then the Saiyans appear with Maris, ready to defend against whatever threat is attacking the ship. They're not entirely sure what's going on, and Maris has to act like he doesn't know them either. But he also has to play it cool. He says let's hear them out. And Beerus and Whis explain who they are and why they're here. Beerus just so happened to have a dream about some sort of Super Saiyan god, and after hearing about a strong Saiyan with the Galactic Patrol, he decided to come here. It is his best bet at finding a rival after all. Well, if it's a fight he wants, it's a fight he's gonna get. The Saiyans are more than up for it. Jocko tells them they gotta be crazy to do this. This guy's a god of destruction. He doesn't even know what that is. He just learned about it. But still, the title alone is more than enough to scare him. I mean, Destroyer. They're insane. But the Saiyans will be fine, and Beerus promises he won't destroy them. Well, as long as they don't do anything to piss him off. They go to an uninhabited planet. This will be their battlefield. The Galactic Patrol actually does train here a bit, so this is the perfect place to fight. They don't have to worry about anything around them, and they're not going to be destroying any ships or whatever. So first, Beerus wants to see the power of everyone individually. He heard Kakarot was the strongest of the group. So, Kakarot goes out first, and immediately, he's decimated. He doesn't understand. Is Beerus actually this strong? Even in Super Saiyan 2, he still can't win. He doesn't even get close to touching Beerus. Vegeta tries to fight. It's the same thing. Raditz and Nappa have the same experience as well. The next person to go up is Broly. He's not too sure about himself yet, but Raditz and Nappa encourage him. And Beerus is intrigued. Maris didn't mention this one, at least as far as Whis knows. Broly only recently started training with him, and he explains this, but he'd like to test out his power. Oh, this Saiyan's confident in himself. But Beerus wonders what's so special about him. Broly begins fighting Beerus, and even in base alone, he's already starting to perform better than the other Saiyans. He's not wearing himself out because he's not using any transformations. But he's still not hitting Beerus either. Raditz and Nappa tell him to remember his training. He needs to use his anger somehow to get stronger, but control it. Don't get too carried away. And Broly summons this power. He transforms into his wrathful form, growing not only in power, but in size too. He keeps swinging at Beerus, and as he fights, he grows more and more. Beerus is still heavily suppressed right now. But at one point, Broly does land a hit on him, although it does absolutely nothing, and Broly looks on in awe. Beerus even chuckles at this. He can tell the Saiyan doesn't really have a control on his power yet, and it seems he's growing stronger as he battles. Why not continue this fight? Beerus is going to give him a little bit of training. How about this? Beerus will give him 1 minute. Broly has 1 minute to land a hit on him, or else this entire planet gets destroyed with everyone on it. Wait, Beerus said he wasn't going to destroy anything. Beerus never said he wouldn't destroy the planet, just that he wouldn't destroy them. They can't tell if he's bluffing or not, but Broly's not going to try and find out. He continues fighting, getting angrier and angrier. 10 seconds pass by. Nothing. 20, 30, 40. He's fighting faster and faster, trying to summon more and more of his power, even using Ki Blasts too. Every Ki Blast gets instantly destroyed by Beerus or gets dodged. Beerus easily counters and dodges all of Broly's attacks as well. 50 seconds. Beerus says there's 10 remaining. And in one hand, very casually, Beerus starts charging an energy blast. It's purple. The energy coming from it is ominous.
Come on,
Vegeta
Broly.
looks on in disbelief. He knew that Beerus coming here would be a bad thing. But there's no way he would actually destroy them all right now, right? Broly's aura begins flaring up. This doesn't seem like an empty threat.
Broly. Come
55
on, Broly.
seconds. He's charging energy with one hand and swinging with the other. 59 seconds. Just as Beerus is about to call out 1 minute, Broly lands a punch. It does nothing to Beerus, but he can feel more than he did the last time. This Saiyan's definitely powering up. He congratulates Broly, saying that he saved his friends and himself. But Broly's not stopping. He's still fighting, and as he does, his aura continues flaring up more and more. The sky begins glowing an ominous green color.
berserk.
Even Beerus looks around confused. The Saiyans aren't sure what's happening, but the shockwaves coming off him are amazing. The energy is creating giant blasts of wind, and they look up as more and more aura forms around Broly. A massive green aura appears around him, creating a pillar, and then it bursts out. They see Broly floating there in front of Beerus, and something's definitely changed about him. This could be a big issue. His hair. It's golden. His eyes are completely blank. Not only has Broly gotten too out of control, but he's transformed into a Super Saiyan. Beerus is amused by this. This is the same form those other Saiyans were using. And this is exactly what he wanted. He was interested in Broly's power, and he wanted to see if he could force Super Saiyan out of him. Broly's definitely a lot faster and stronger now, and as he continues fighting, he still is growing. He begins swinging at Beerus, landing a lot of hits, and they seem to be good hits. He grabs Beerus, throwing him into the ground, and then in the other hand, he charges a massive energy blast, launching it right down towards him. As the explosion dissipates, Beerus floats up from the crater. Not bad.
This is a fight we need to
Not
see,
bad at
Broly
all.
versus
Beerus is
Beerus.
actually getting pretty happy, but Whis tells him to calm himself. He is here for the Super Saiyan God after all. If he kills this Saiyan, who knows what will happen next. But Beerus tells Whis to consider this a warm-up. He shows off a tiny bit more power, and the fight between Beerus and Broly continues. But just as quickly as it started, it ends. With a single chop to the back of his neck, Beerus knocks Broly out. He goes back into his base form and plummets towards the ground. And Beerus descends back down. That was pretty fun. And just for the record, he tells him that it wasn't an empty threat. A god of destruction can't be mistrustworthy after all. Well, in reality, he was only going to destroy a little bit of the planet. But he doesn't tell them that. Broly's power was pretty incredible, but Beerus notes that he lacks experience and a lot of control. The others can at least control their power. He then points at Kakarot. That's the one that Beerus has the most interest in. Now, how do they summon a Super Saiyan God? They're not entirely sure. But Whis says he can do some research, and he tells Maris to come along with him. They're not sure why he wants Maris, but obviously Maris still doesn't want to reveal himself. So he comes up with a story and goes along with it. The two of them venture out looking for info. Their first stop will be Namek, seeing if the Namekian Book of Legends says anything about it. Beerus gets to know the Saiyans more and more. Obviously, he already knows Vegeta, but he sees potential in all of them. As long as Broly can learn to control his power, he'll be very great as a fighter. But in terms of Kakarot, outside of Broly's pure strength, Kakarot's the strongest. He actually has control and great techniques. Beerus would prefer to have him as a rival, at least for the time being. Kakarot doesn't really know what to say, but Whis and Maris then come back interrupting them. They did actually find some answers on Namek. They knew that Book of Lore would actually be very helpful. There actually was some information about a Super Saiyan God. Apparently, it's a ritual. They need 5 Saiyans to channel their energy into 1 Saiyan. They all have to be righteous Saiyans. Well, can they consider themselves righteous? I guess so. They're part of the Black Patrol. They are doing good.
They have been doing good.
And they've even reformed. Now, it's not like they're necessarily pure good, but they still uphold all the Saiyan values that they have, while also managing to do good in the universe. That definitely sounds righteous to them. But also there's another big issue. They only have 5 Saiyans. They need 6. Beerus is a bit bummed out to hear this. Are they sure they don't know any other Saiyans at all? The group begins racking their brains, trying to think of anything. They have absolutely no idea what to do. But Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta remember something. Wait, there is one more Saiyan out there. What, is it Paragus? He's definitely not righteous enough for this. No way they're letting him out of prison either. No, not Paragus. It's Vegeta's brother. Wait,
Taro.
Vegeta's brother? Kakarot didn't know he had a brother. Well, yeah, Vegeta never really mentioned him, but he does have a brother. He was banished away for being too weak. He wasn't a normal Saiyan, so they could probably trust him. Huh, that's kind of weird that Vegeta kept this to himself all this time. Broly
he didn't come up.
consciousness, and Whis heals him too. Even apologizing for Beerus losing his temper. Broly's filled in on everything too. Now all they need to do is find Tarble, and that won't be a problem with Whis there. Whis begins searching through the universe, and he finds the planet that Tarble's located on. He tells everyone he'll be right back. And not too long after, he reappears with someone that looks like a shorter version of Vegeta. Wow, he works quick. Well, yeah, Tarble was kind of caught off guard by this guy coming here saying he's an angel and everything. And he also did mention Vegeta, so maybe it was worth going. The guy also seemed kind of intimidating, so Tarble wasn't going to question it either. But it turns out he made the right choice and Vegeta actually is here. This is the first time everyone's actually getting to meet him. He definitely isn't like Vegeta, or at least what Vegeta was like beforehand. The Saiyans all power up. Forming a ring around Kakarot, Tarble joins in too. He definitely has a lot to be filled in on by Vegeta, but Vegeta tells Tarble he'll fill him in later.
Right.
Their ki gets channeled into Kakarot. He's then raised into the
Super
air.
Saiyan God.
A bluish aura appears
Kakarot.
around him, then exploding. As he descends back down, they notice he looks leaner. His hair, it's red, so are his eyes. And for some reason they can't even sense him at all. But Beerus, Whis, and Mayris can. This is it. This is a Super Saiyan God. The ritual worked. And now Beerus says there's only one thing to do. They need to test out this power. Kakarot is just as amazed by it. And he's ready. He didn't actually expect this to work, and he's not going to know how to actually control this right away. But slowly, he'll get used to it. He's confident. The two launch towards each other and clash. A massive crater forms. Already, this is even crazier than the fight with Broly. Each time they hit each other, massive shockwaves are created. The ground is torn up.
Oh yeah.
Everything shakes. They can't even really keep track of what's going on. All they see are flashes of light in the air, trails of purple and red light that keep hitting each other and moving away. It's spectacular.
Come on, Goku.
Even from space, the Galactic Patrol watches on. Jocko's on one of the ships nearby. And they can even detect the shockwaves from out there, seeing the lights from all the attacks too. The battle is a massive scale war. It takes place across the entire planet. From space, the Galactic Patrol continues watching on. The streaks of red and purple light fly around the planet, almost making it look as if the planet has rings itself. The two keep colliding midair. Beerus is really enjoying himself, as is Kakarot. But Beerus tells Kakarot, they're still not equals yet, not by a long shot. Kakarot's surprised to hear this. Beerus is still holding back, and he confirms this. But Kakarot's power is still more than impressive. He definitely has potential. This is what he wanted. This is what he dreamed of. A rival, a Super Saiyan God. Kakarot has reinvigorated his fighting spirit, as have all the Saiyans. But Beerus tells him the fight's still not over. It won't end until one of them is knocked unconscious, and Kakarot agrees to this. They keep on going. Kakarot lands some more devastating hits in, trying to trip Beerus up, leaving him open for an attack. If this doesn't stop Beerus, nothing will. In one hand, Kakarot begins charging energy. Electricity swirls around him. It's red and yellow. And then he starts charging energy in his other hand, using his legs to attack now.
What the
He
fuck?
cups the two hands together. Electricity crashes down towards the planet as his two hands collide. This is the strongest attack in his arsenal, buffed by God Ki. Beerus recollects himself from the attacks and looks on, even welcoming this attack. Red Ki swirls into Kakarot's hands. This is a godly final flash. He launches the attack. It's massive in scale, and Beerus takes it head on. It flies out into
That shit
space,
didn't work
scaring
yet,
the Galactic
Kakarot.
Patrol. It's a giant beam of reddish energy, almost like a pure beam of fire. The entire planet is illuminated by this, and all the Saiyans watch on too, as well as Mayris and Whis. The surface of the planet below them is scorched, turned into glass by the intense heat. Whis creates a shield around everyone too, just so they're safe, and the beam slowly dissipates. Beerus is revealed there with both his arms up in front of him. He coughs and says that tickled, but that power truly was amazing. Although sadly, this is where this fight ends. Beerus launches towards Kakarot, hitting him with one punch, knocking him out. As
Damn,
Kakarot
man,
falls
you
onto
gotta
the
do
ground
that.
unconscious and his hair changes color,
Yeah, like it's
Beerus
Battle with
comments on
Gods or
this.
something.
He still has a long way to go, but he looks forward to being rivals with him. Tarble and Vegeta catch him before he hits the ground. And even though he's unconscious, Kakarot's smiling, as is Beerus. And with that, so now the Saiyans know of the Super Saiyan God, and one actually exists. It's Kakarot. It would be nice if they could try and attain this power for themselves somehow. They could just do the ritual on everyone, but they don't feel right about that. Kakarot only did this because it was the only way. If it went his way, well, he would have tried to get it through training. It doesn't feel right just having it given to him, and the other Saiyans agree too. And as for Broly, it's not like he can even get it right now. Not that it's impossible, just because everyone's scared of what will happen if he gets that power.
Yeah,
He's still got a lot of work to do. And also, they won't even have enough people for the ritual. Tarble eventually has to go back home. He's not just going to stay here and be ritual fodder. But it was nice seeing everyone, and he hopes he sees them again, especially Vegeta. Although, he is kind of bummed that he was only remembered when Vegeta needed something. But hey, if he ever needs help, he's got 5 really strong Saiyans on his side. And he kind of knows a god of destruction, which is pretty cool. He returns home going back to his piece, after getting caught up to speed on everything that happened so far and who all these people are. So now the group is back to how it once was. Beerus and Whis go back to their planet, taking some of the Saiyans along with them. They could train everyone all at once, but they think it's better right now to focus on Raditz, Vegeta, and Nappa. Like I mentioned, Broly's not going to try and get Super Saiyan God just yet, and Kakarot already has it.
Right.
The goal right now is to have these 3 get it somehow. And from what Whis and Mayris researched, it seems there is another way. They can get it through training and through access to God Ki. The ritual was just a really quick way to get it. So those 3 are going to be with Beerus and Whis for a bit, and once they get Super Saiyan God, Kakarot will join too so they can all train at the same level, and Broly will probably come along to get a better grasp on his power. So that kind of leaves Kakarot and Broly all to themselves, which is pretty good. Kakarot doesn't really know Broly as well as the others. It's mainly Raditz and Nappa that have been hanging around him. Plus, not only does Broly still have a lot to learn in terms of training, but he has a lot to learn in terms of the universe around him. He's only been on 2 planets his entire life, and one of them he barely remembers, and the other is just a desolate wasteland with a harsh environment. Especially if he's going to be part of the Galactic Patrol, he needs to see more planets, not only for himself, but in terms of his job. He already does like the prospect of becoming a Galactic Patrol agent. It'll help him get the experience he needs and it'll let him travel. And thankfully, everything seems pretty peaceful right now. It's a perfect opportunity to take a nice little trip. And Kakarot knows exactly the place to go. Together, he and Broly fly towards Earth. Their ship lands and they're immediately greeted by the humans that Kakarot knew. Krillin, Tenshinhan, and Roshi. Funny enough, since they last saw them, Roshi actually got a new student. It took a bit of time for him to realize, but Yamcha gave up being a desert bandit long ago, eventually pursuing baseball, then realizing he wanted to do martial arts. Even though it's way later than normal, he still ended up joining the group. Oh yeah, Chaozu's there too, can't forget about him. Broly essentially has the same reaction that Kakarot had the first time he saw the Earthlings. They all look pretty similar to how the Saiyans look, besides the fact that they don't have tails. This planet seems pretty nice too. It's fully developed, there's a bunch of civilizations around it, and although it's not crazy advanced like some of the other planets, it seems nice. And Broly is a Saiyan after all. He does love to eat, and they got some great food here on Earth. Krillin pulls Kakarot aside. What's with this guy? He eats like an animal. Kakarot explains everything and Krillin gets it. It's kind of sad to hear about this, but hey, it's good that Broly's at least in a good place now. Kakarot also tells Roshi about Broly's power. And although Roshi's not going to be strong enough to try and tame Broly, he is a master martial artist after all, and he probably can lend some tips. It would be nice to have some training here on Earth with all of them. And with the help of Krillin and Tenshinhan, that might be really easy. They weren't even coming here mainly for training, but this sounds nice. They all head up to the lookout, training up there with Kami. While training, Kakarot gets a message from the Galactic Patrol. The 3 other Saiyans with Beerus and Whis have stopped their training for a bit. It doesn't seem like they've fully achieved their goal yet. But the main reason they're leaving is because they got a new mission. The Galactic Patrol received a distress call from a planet called M2. They're not sure what it is, but it sounds like a big deal. And those 3 Saiyans took up the offer. Beerus and Whis decided it would be great training for them too. Maybe it's another strong threat that they could fight. Kakarot confirms the message, going back to his training here. They should be alright. Even without him and Broly there, I mean, they're all strong on their own. There's no way it could go wrong. Some days pass, and the training's actually going pretty well. Of course, they're not growing really strong during this time. It's more trying to focus their power. This applies to Kakarot too. Even though his power is completely out of their world, like literally out of this world, the tips that he's getting from everyone actually helps him try and maintain the power of Super Saiyan God, trying to practice with it more and more. And they picked up on some new moves along the way too. Knowing Broly's insane power, Tenshinhan decided to teach one of his signature moves, the Kikoho. That would be really deadly in the hands of Broly. And as for Kakarot, Krillin taught him some pretty nice things too. He already has the Final Flash, but Krillin teaches him another beam move, the signature move of the Turtle School. It's some weird blue attack called a Kamehameha or something. He doesn't know what it is, but hey, it is kinda cool. Kakarot checks back in with the Galactic Patrol, seeing how the mission's going with Vegeta, Raditz, Nappa, and from what he hears from Mayris, they're all still there. Jocko confirms this too. They left a few days ago and they haven't received any contact. This isn't worrying. They must have just gotten there because it did take a few days for travel. But they've had to been there for at least a day now. Maybe it's just taking a bit too long. Nothing too concerning yet. And if something did happen, well, they do have technology that tracks them, and if they die, the Galactic Patrol will get notified. And nothing's happened yet so far. They don't seem to be in distress and there's no distress calls. But this gets Kakarot a little bit wary. It's weird for them to not contact anyone for about a day. Jocko says he hopes it's probably nothing. But Mayris also agrees. It is kind of weird. But this planet didn't really seem to have strong people from what they sensed. It's almost like there was no energy sources at all from there. Weird. Kakarot's getting kind of a bad feeling about this. He doesn't want to concern anyone else, so he doesn't tell them yet. Especially Broly. He goes back to his training with this in the back of his mind. Meanwhile, let's go over to the Saiyans and see what's actually happening with them. The three of them land on this planet, and it's a pretty interesting place. It seems like it's almost abandoned, like there's no signs of living life anywhere.
Damn.
They try and sense ki and nothing.
Trying to shut my
They
nigga
even pull out their
Vegeta up.
scouters too, just to make sure. They haven't used these in a while, but hey, it might help something. And while the scouters don't pick up any energy in terms of ki, they pick up energy,
This lady again.
a lot of machine energy. And as they venture through the planet more and more, they see it's populated by small robots, it seems. They're just more and more confused as they go on. So, who was responsible for contacting them? Did a robot contact them to come here? Kinda weird, but okay. Then all the robots start running. They prepare themselves, assuming a threat is coming. And sure enough, a threat does arrive. It's another group of robots. These ones are much bigger than those normal ones. They call themselves the Sigma Force. They immediately realize that they can't win this one. Raditz says there's no way they can beat a Sigma male. But Nappa tells them to calm down. They're not true Sigma males, they're robots. They definitely have a shot. They face the Sigma Force and it's actually not that bad. At least until they fuse. This gives them a bit more of a challenge. Super Sigma's actually pretty strong. But with 3 Super Saiyan 2s there, it's not a problem at all. They're still on the path to getting their Super Saiyan God form. They haven't quite achieved it yet, but they're almost there. But even without it, they should be fine. They have Super Saiyan 2. That's more than enough in terms of strength. The Sigma Force is defeated, and then another enemy comes along. General Rildo.
Oh,
And it's not just him either. There's
here.
other machine mutants coming along too. Now they see what's going on. All of these bigger machine mutants are terrorizing this planet. They're not too sure why or when this started, but they are definitely threats. They did attack the Galactic Patrol first, after all. The 3 of them power up, all fighting the machine mutants. Rildo even transforms. Surprising the Saiyans, these people can transform too, but they continue fighting. This is getting a bit more challenging as it goes along. At first, it wasn't that bad. For example, they were able to take on the Sigma Force. And even Hyper Meta Rildo isn't too bad. But once he's defeated again, he changes once more. These guys are really just like Saiyans. They keep on transforming no matter what. And now they face Meta Rildo. This is actually more challenging. He begins controlling all the metal on the planet. It's insane. Not only was he powerful in his main body, but he's essentially an entire planet right now that they're fighting. Raditz begins questioning this. If they had this guy all along, maybe it was a trap. It seems like he's not trying to kill them, but rather to trap them. Vegeta and Nappa never considered this. But Raditz explains more and more, and Vegeta ends up agreeing. That actually sounds right. This might be a trap after all. They need to get to their space pods. They need to retreat and figure out another way to do this. Especially because at this rate, they're either going to die here, or they're going to have to blow up the planet. The latter's definitely the best option. In the middle of the fight, Nappa uses a lot of his power, using an upgraded version of his giant storm attack, which completely eviscerates the area.
Yes, sir.
Everything erupts, and it even melts all the metal around them for a bit. This might be their shot to escape. They all make a beeline for their ships. But as they're going, Raditz then feels metal wrap around his leg, dragged down back to the ground. Rildo then appears in front of Vegeta and Nappa, and the same thing happens to them. The 3 Saiyans are all pulled back down to the ground, completely trapped in the metal. And they're surprised. It seems Raditz's theory was right. They're alive. They're not being killed. They're being captured, and they're not sure why. This is about the point when the Galactic Patrol contacted Kakarot. It's not only because they had no contact with them, but they also couldn't sense any of the Saiyans on the planet. Knowing that it might be a bit too dangerous, they want to try and survey the planet, but they can't send actual scouts out there. And Mayris would love to intervene somehow, but he knows he can't. Everyone still thinks he's a regular person, and if he does try to fight using his full power, well, he dies. And if something truly nefarious is going on there, imagine what happens if they capture an angel somehow. Definitely not a good look. They send out some drones there to see what's happening. And they can't get any signs of Vegeta, Nappa, or Raditz. Little do they know, these 3 are trapped in the planet. And thankfully, they're able to escape somehow. And now they just need to make their way out of the planet and back to their ships. They met Dr. Mew and were able to escape from him, also killing him in the process.
Damn.
But they stumble upon something really interesting. It's some sort of project. It looks to be another machine mutant. They see something floating inside of a chamber, and they're not sure what to do. They try and send video feedback to the patrol, but it's not working. But as they're trying to send video feedback, they suddenly get connection. And this tells them that there's a drone nearby. The Galactic Patrol knows they're in trouble, and the video feed is sent directly to them. Mayris and Jaka watch on from the HQ. This is good. The 3 Saiyans are still alive, and they seem in pretty good shape. They were captured and able to escape somehow, but they're confused as to what they're seeing. Raditz tries to explain what it is, discussing everything that's happened in the past day or so. But then the video feed cuts out as all the scouters explode, and the last thing Mayris and Jocko see is the chamber exploding. The glass shatters around them as that tube explodes, and the project inside of it comes out. A beam of energy then flies past Nappa. It doesn't really hurt him, but it cuts open his skin. They all try to attack the thing that escaped, but he warps
Maybe
around
be
it,
earlier.
then latching onto
G.
Nappa, seemingly
Maybe
entering
GT.
through his cut. He
Trash
disappears,
ass.
and they look
I
at
do
Nappa
like,
confused. Nappa's expression then completely changes. He begins grinning nefariously, using another giant storm attack, hitting Vegeta and Raditz head on. This explodes the entire underground of the planet. Vegeta and Raditz are flung up to the surface, and they immediately transform into Super Saiyan 2. What's going on? Why did Nappa attack them? The drone sent by the patrol flies nearby, looking at everything that's going on. Nappa flies up out of the crater. Something's wrong with him. The two rush Nappa and begin fighting, being cautious. From what they could tell, it seems like that thing entered Nappa, taking control of him. Nappa goes into Super Saiyan 2 and begins attacking with all his might. Against the two of them, he's not able to do much, but that's not his plan right now. He then attacks Raditz with all his power, just trying to injure him enough. Vegeta's the stronger one, so it might be a bit hard to injure him. But for Raditz, Nappa's able to successfully cut him. Raditz then sees what's happening. This thing is trying to take control of him too. He tries to cover up his cut, but Nappa then jumps on top of him and pins him down. Vegeta launches an attack, and Nappa turns back at him, shooting a massive beam from his mouth. Raditz struggles to get up and then headbutts Nappa, but it's already too late. Baby then enters Raditz too.
Oh shit.
After guarding from that attack from Nappa, Vegeta drops his arms down, and he sees his two allies raise up in front of him. And immediately he knows the worst has happened. Raditz has been possessed too by whatever this is. Vegeta then makes a beeline for his spaceship. Even though it would be great to defeat them right now, he knows he probably can't, and it's too risky. And just for good measure, as he flies towards his spaceship, he then turns around launching a massive final flash, hitting both Raditz and Nappa, and being directed right at the planet to blow it up too. The planet begins detonating, and this was a great distraction. Vegeta is able to make it to his spaceship, but then Raditz and Nappa jump right in front of it, ripping the front of it open. The two then pummel Vegeta together. With their combined power, they're actually able to overpower him a bit, and Vegeta's beaten on the ground as the Galactic Patrol drone watches on. Maris isn't sure what to do. Even if they do send help there, nothing will be able to defeat them, besides Kakarot and Broly, but they won't get there in time. Back on Earth, Kakarot gets another transmission from the patrol. They don't know what happened. Raditz and Nappa were possessed, and now it seems they're trying to kill Vegeta. Kakarot gets a direct video feed of what's happening, and everyone watches on. Vegeta then remembers the drone. He knows what's happening. Baby told him a bit of this before. Vegeta tries to mutter whatever words possible, and the drone can only make out one of the words, Tuffles. Raditz then turns around, blowing the drone up. They're not sure what happened, but Kakarot stays on the line. And not long later, Jocko and Maris tell him that the ships have left the planet. They're not going back to the Galactic Patrol though. They're going to Earth. Wait a second, Tuffles. Of course, Kakarot didn't know too much about them, but he does know a bit of Saiyan history due to his time with Frieza. The Saiyans destroyed the Tuffles a long time ago, didn't they? Maybe this is their revenge somehow. Maybe they're heading to Earth not for that planet, but because they know the Saiyans are there. Kakarot tells Broly they need to leave right now. The humans ask if they need any help, but Kakarot says it's too dangerous for them. They thank everyone for the time here, and they say they'll be back soon. Hopefully this all goes well. Broly's a bit concerned, but Kakarot says they should be fine. They'll figure out a way to fix this. And as they board their spaceship to leave, Kakarot then finally senses them. But their energy, it's not the same as before. Of course they are far away, so we can't tell if that's interfering with it, but it's just weird. Something about them feels unnatural. Kakarot then receives a call, directly from Vegeta's spaceship, and what he sees terrifies him. A video pops up, and it's Vegeta, but he looks a bit different. He's laughing, telling Kakarot and Broly that they're next. The Saiyans will fall. Now that he has the power of Vegeta, he can't lose. This is baby Vegeta, and this is where we'll leave off for now. So,
I don't know if I fell asleep or not. Just know that we got the reactions, and we're here. Shout out to Charlotte Saiyan. Shout out to What a Frieza. Race Kakarot Part 11 and Part 12. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Check out the last chapter right here. Check out another video right here, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.